Joe.
Greg.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but you're a big fan of Halloween, right?
Love Halloween.
Like one of your top favorite movies, right?
Yes.
It's a big franchise. They got a lot.
A lot of movies.
Yeah. You want to know what would make a badder movie baddest?
Lay it on me.
Like we need Creed in the soundtrack. But not just once though.
I did pick up on this. Yeah, multiple times.
Yeah. Mark, are you there?
I'm sorry. I was listening to what it's for, what it's worth. Sorry, I can't hear y'all right now. Y'all can keep on going though.
Creed is on this soundtrack twice.
I got a confession to make. I like the first Creed album.
Cut.
Not even a
Sorry,
confession.
guys.
Not even a confession. It's a great
There's
album.
some bangers on there.
That's
a couple
just
bangers.
We're covering this movie, and it's got to be one of the most confusing titles for a Halloween movie ever.
Yeah,
Halloween...
so hold on, Greg. Welcome into the Prime Cut Podcast, a movie discussion show aimed at recommending deep cuts, flawed gems, and forgotten masterpieces. Greg, what are we discussing today?
We're discussing shit from a butt.
Harsh, but maybe not totally untrue. We're talking about 1998's Halloween H2O.
It's 1998 in a remote California town at a secluded private school.
We could have a Halloween party, just the four of us. We could have a roaming orgy.
I love the way this man thinks. No booze, no drugs, no kidding.
One teacher is living in fear.
I'm not who you think I am. I changed my name when I went into hiding.
That's terrible. Take off your clothes.
My brother killed my sister.
How'd he do that?
With a really big kitchen knife.
That's enough. I can't take it, Mom. He's dead. It's been 20 years. What's he waiting for, huh? Don't you think he would have shown up by now?
What's going on, baby?
I don't know. This is a sick joke.
Now,
Come on!
the face of good and the face of evil will meet one last time. But this time, it's going to be a fight to the finish. This summer, terror won't be taking a vacation. Halloween H2O.
It's Halloween. I guess everyone's entitled to one good scare. I've had my share.
20 years later, I guess, is the full title.
It's confusing because it's written as H2, and on paper is you have to go, is that an O or is that a 0? When you're searching for it, I mistyped it many times because H2O is supposed to be an O, not a 0.
Well, it's a 0.
Yeah, in this, it's a 0.
Wouldn't you think that this movie would have something to do with like Michael Myers in like a maritime type of...
I would watch
right?
the hell out of that.
I mean, why wouldn't they do that? Does that happen in this movie, Greg?
Absolutely not.
No, there's no water in this movie. It makes no difference. Nothing is going on with water in this movie.
Who came up with this title?
I think we need to reel it back. It's H20 because it's 20 years later.
Yeah, but 20 isn't it? You don't say H20.
Nobody says H20.
No one says H20. Hey, bro, come over. We're going to watch H20. Hey.
Michael Myers whispered it in the beginning of the movie. No one heard it, though.
No, he did not.
Yeah, because he doesn't talk.
Yeah.
So, first of all, we're welcoming back AJ, recurring
Hello.
Guest vocalist.
Thanks for having me back.
Welcome, AJ. We only do, when AJ's on, we only do movies that have Joseph Gordon-Levitt in them.
That's the rule.
I didn't know about that until this movie started, but he was previously on for Looper, which stars Joseph Gordon-Levitt. This one contains a performance by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, so that's why we're bringing AJ in.
He carries that whole scene.
He does.
He carries the whole movie.
Greg, we talked a little bit off mic about what category this is. I have my thoughts. I don't know
when I asked you this question, tell the people what you said. I said, Joe, is this a deep cut, a flawed gem, or forgotten masterpiece? Your response was
graciously, generously. I said, I think we were hoping that it was going to be a flawed gem, and then it just ended up being massively flawed.
I'm so happy that you guys are taking this position, because my biggest fear when he asked me to do this movie was that I was like, why did he pick this movie? It's not that great. So I thought maybe it was like Joe's secret little special movie that he loved, and then I was gonna have to hurt his feelings by railing on it. But
no, first of all, Greg doesn't mind hurting my feelings, but number two, this movie is not very good.
It's got its moments. It's got a couple cool scenes that are you're like, oh, that's badass. That's cool. But overall, it's a mess.
Yeah, and I'll say this, one thing that I think that it does well, and I'm not sure if it's to its benefit or not, but it definitely harkens back to the early Halloweens, the first couple of John Carpenter ones, with there are certain things that Myers does, there are certain plot points, just even there's a scene where Laurie Strode the character played by Jamie Lee Curtis, finds a closet and she's maybe going to hide in the closet, which is very reminiscent of the first Halloween where she does hide there. It does that really well. It definitely pulled things from the old movies, but it was hard to find glimmers of redeeming qualities in this film. Starting with the title. The title is just brutal.
Weird.
All right. Yeah. So for all the listeners, business up front, I'm going to blast through this real quick. You can find us on Instagram at Prime Cut Podcast on Instagram. You can email us at theprimecutpodcast@gmail.com. Hit us up. Let us know what your recommendations are. We got a couple more fun things packed in for the back half of the season. And then you can follow us on TikTok. Furthermore, follow, subscribe. And if you know someone that's into this type of thing, let them know. Do us a favor. Help us blow up so we can get rich and act like we don't know nobody.
Yeah. Watch the talks. And I don't know, do you thumbs those up? What do you do on TikTok? You heart them? What do you do?
No, Joe's never even been on TikTok.
Toilet. No.
He's never been on TikTok. He doesn't know how it works.
I don't. But get on there. I guess let's talk about our film. We frame it as usual, director 2 to 3 stars. And let's just hit the director really quick because there's not much to say. This movie is directed by AJ. Who's this guy?
Steve Miner. He's he directed Friday the 13th Part 2 and 3. He did Warlock back in 1989. And he's also done a slew of television stuff. He's done Dawson's Creek, Wonder Years. He's basically a seasoned jack of all trades kind of director. He I think Warlock is maybe one other horror film before then, but he really didn't have the chops to do, outside of the Friday the 13th stuff, he mostly did comedies, romantic comedies and weird little movies like that, and some horror movies. And so he's a weird director. He doesn't really have a tone or a voice to his style, and he just gets the job done. But he knows his tropes, the suspense, the way they set it up, even though it's cliched and tired, it's standard, it's solid for the most part in the film. He knows what he's doing, but it's very much paint by numbers sometimes.
Yeah, he hasn't directed anything since 2008, and he directed this movie called Private Valentine, Blonde and Dangerous.
Add that to the watch list.
Haven't seen that one.
He was probably approaching retirement by that time, and then just kind of dwindling out his, phoning it in by the end of it.
Yeah, he started his career early.
There's something to be said here, though. So that's the director, but the writer of this movie is worth mentioning. His name's Kevin Williamson, and he's kind of an uncredited writer of this movie. Um, he's done. All right, so this is going to make sense once I say like kind of his background here. He originally wrote a movie called I think it was called like Scary Movie. That was the original title of it. It was basically about teens that watched scary movies and knew all the tropes that the scary movies go through and stuff like that. Sold to Miramax, later relabeled as Scream. So he wrote Scream. What else did he do? He did I Know What You Did Last Summer. He did Dawson's Creek, which makes sense here, why we've got some of the people we do.
Yeah.
But he's the one that basically wrote this. He kind of does like the teen horror movies is his thing.
Yeah, I think it's important to note that like this time period for horror was kind of like a dead zone up until Scream, really. The 90s were like,
yeah,
they were kind of like, there wasn't a lot, and Scream really kind of reimagined the horror franchises and the horror genre. And this, I feel like I got the feeling when I kind of did some research on this movie and read about it that this was riding that wave. It comes out only if really close to Scream. It was like, oh, let's repackage this. Let's reimagine it. People like the old stuff. We can update it. If we get Jamie Lee Curtis back, she can, there's all these kind of myth and lore that they're pulling from the first movie, from the first two movies. And this was definitely like riding that energy wave to get, I mean, it performed pretty well. This is a top 50 movie and it made $55 million.
Okay, but
pretty good.
There's a reason. Like, just remove the plot, remove all the stuff we know about it, and there was hype around it because this was Jamie Lee Curtis's return to the Halloween franchise.
Yeah.
She did 1, she did 2, and she was basically gone for the entirety of it. And so 20 years later, she comes back and does this one.
Yeah, and so let's talk about her really quick. That's a good segue, Greg. Jamie Lee Curtis gets her start in the first Halloween movie, 1978, directed by John Carpenter, a landmark movie, American film, and horror classic. Basically pretty much invents, there's a couple of movies before it, but basically invents the slasher genre of horror films. She is the scream queen, final girl trope. It basically is created with her role as Laurie Strode in the first movie. She reprises that role in this movie. She's reprised it several times since in a new series I think it's a trilogy now. I mean, I don't know where to go with this. It basically makes her a star. And she has she's her parents, Tony Curtis and Janet Leigh, two Hollywood icons. Janet Leigh is a horror icon. She's the woman who gets stabbed to death in Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. So it's almost like in her bones to be in a horror film. And Janet Leigh does have a small cameo in this movie, which was interesting. But I really think that this establishes her, and she seemed to always want to try and get away from this.
Yeah.
As an actress, wouldn't you say that, AJ? Like she was always like trying to say, I'm more than the Scream woman.
Yeah, because the Scream Queen title was really kind of a nepotistic gig that she got. She really got that first movie off of name and, the screen presence that she had, but she wasn't really a working actor at that time. She didn't know how to break down a character, how to like really get deep into the motivation behind a character. And by 88, when she does A Fish Called Wanda, I mean, she knows how to act. She's a solid actor by that point. She's paid her dues. And in many ways, coming back to this film is in many ways beneath her. And you can feel her trying to do more with the script than there is. You can feel her trying to push to get like a more realistic PTSD kind of performance out of it. But it's so out of line with the direction of the other performances that it just kind of throws you off. I mean, the first scene where she wakes up screaming, like you just want to find the mute button because it just this like pig squealing noise that she keeps making. Like
bad scream, right? Not a good scream.
No,
that felt very forced. It felt like they were just throwing that in there because it's like we've got the Scream Queen, we've got to do something with it.
I feel like she watched a bunch of like people having PSD like night terror freakouts and studied that, and then just came to the set at 11 when all they needed was her to wake up with a gasp. Right? That's really the cliche for that shot. After she's dreaming about Michael or whatever, she's supposed to wake up with a gasp, sweaty. Her kid's like, "Are you okay?" No, she's like having like a legit night terror clinical episode. That's just like
Not
bizarre.
great. And her career is like, I would say it's like kind of up and down. She does,
Oh, yeah.
you know, she's like great in Trading Places, A Fish Called Wanda in the 80s. She really doesn't do a lot. I guess My Girl. I like Blue Steel. Have you guys seen Blue Steel? It's Catherine Bigelow directs. It's 1990. She's obviously a female police officer who is getting stalked. It's good. I like it.
Is it really? I have not seen that. I need to see that.
I
haven't seen it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. Then she does My Girl. She kind of goes underground for a little bit. She takes time off. She did obviously True Lies. She's awesome in True Lies. Maybe her best performance outside of, I don't know, I guess the one that she won an Oscar for, because then Freaky Friday, she does some kind of smaller like Christmas movies, you know, rom-coms, comedy. And she wins an Oscar in, I believe it's 2022. Yes, for Everything Everywhere All at Once. She wins a Best Supporting Actress Oscar, which is
she really went character for that role too.
Yeah, yeah. It did kind of feel like a little bit of a career achievement type of Oscar. But I think she's like, I like her. I like Jamie Lee Curtis. I think she's good.
I know that she only agreed to do this movie if she could kill Mike Myers at the end of it. Whoops, spoiler alert.
Well, she kills him in like 3 other movies.
Yeah, but she was like, I'm only going to do this. I'm only going to come back if I can kill him.
Well, and there's like a hilarious retcon twist to that we'll get to at the end. But
yeah,
and originally, I think that part of the allure was that she was going to come back. She was going to be reunited with Mike Myers, and John Carpenter was originally slated to direct this.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But he was asking for like 10 mil.
Smart
and
man.
then he wanted basically he was trying to get like back pay for the original movie, which was 10 mil was a lot at the time. And then he also wanted it to be a trilogy. So he was only going to do it if he could do 2 more after this. And the the producers were like, nah, kick rocks, which I think was a mistake.
Yeah, I mean, it almost feels like he was aware. I'm reading into this heavily, but I almost get the feeling that he's like, I read the script, I saw what you guys are doing. My price tag is 10 million, knowing that they'd be like,
To
no.
sell
He's
out,
like,
yeah.
great. Either I get paid a lot of money to direct this piece of shit, or I don't have to attach my name to it, which is what ended up happening.
All right, let's chat about some of our other our supporting cast here. I think the biggest one here is Josh Hartnett.
Bad hairstyle.
Dead eyes.
Okay, I got something to say about this. So this whole movie it just oozes 90s eyebrows and fashion. Josh Hartnett's hair basically looks like a scene girl that went through like a big breakup.
Yeah, and cut it all off. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got micro bangs with a scene girl bob mixed together.
It's like greasy and feathered. Ugh.
Yeah.
This is where y'all's age, I think, is coming into play here.
Yeah.
That hair was, I think the kids would call it valid. The hair was valid.
Right now, it's valid?
Right now, that hair is valid.
It looks
100%.
awful.
Greg,
Yeah.
you've seen that haircut this year. You've probably saw that haircut yesterday.
It's kind of an androgynistic haircut, if I'm being honest. And he's got like the long sideburns. It's like AJ, you know what I'm talking about, like the guys that were like wearing the white belts that were in all girls' clothes in the 90s.
The scene kids, yeah.
The scene kids,
well, the scene kids had like bigger bangs, but then you had the Midwest kids trying to be scene kids, and they'd be like tapered it back.
It's bad. The fashion's bad. We've got the chola eyebrows on the female. Yeah, Michelle Williams. It's like, whoa! You can take a thumb and like lick it and wipe that thing clean off with one swipe.
It's like my grandmother's eyebrows.
There are things I like Hartnett in.
AJ's grandmother's a chola.
Yeah, she's like old school chola, man, 1960s. Yeah, drew them puppies.
That's the real deal, though. So Josh Hartnett, movies that he's done that you've probably seen him in. The biggest one that comes to mind outside of this for me was either 30 Days of Night or The Faculty.
Big 30 Days a Night fan. I like it.
Yeah, that one's good.
That's a good movie.
It's just so weird how that year got him to Virgin Suicides and Black Hawk Down the next year.
Yep.
That he got those jobs off of this stuff.
Dude,
it's
and
like,
Pearl Harbor.
Pearl Harbor, that's right too. But his acting, I just can't. Like, if you look at there's a scene that he has where he's arguing with Jamie Lee Curtis, and she's like emotionally at 10, and he has to go to emotionally 10, and that's the only scene where they're on the same page acting wise, like from a directing point of view, and he can't even hold on to that, like, for that scene. And the rest of the movie, he's just apathetic teenager, don't give a fuck, just trying to get laid, and it's like it's just so I don't know. I just don't think he's a good actor.
Hey, what size shirt do you think he's wearing in this, AJ?
Like the cost, like the suit attire, like the jacket and shit. Like that's like a double XL on the jacket, and like
he's probably like a medium, and he's wearing like a double XL.
Yeah.
Oversized, janky suit.
The other, I guess, standout really that we should talk about is Michelle Williams.
Eyebrows.
Yeah, and Michelle Williams this is not her first role as an adult or like a teen.
I think that she landed this because she was in
she's in Dawson's Creek right around this time.
Yeah, she was in Species as well. And I think that they were kind of.
Are you serious?
I think her relationship with, or not her relationship, her professional relationship with Steve Miner from Dawson's Creek was what pulled her into this project.
Interesting. Okay. Well, the
writer was also in Dawson's Creek as well.
There's a lot of weird Dawson's Creek people mixed into the production.
And it kind of makes sense when you watch it, though, because it has the same teenager, like group teenagers in a boarding school. Like, it has this like teeny bopper, like campy Dawson's soap opera. Like, I don't even know what Dawson's Creek, when was that on? That was on at night, right? It was like a teen melodrama.
Teen weeknight thing.
I got a funny Dawson's Creek story for you, Joe. You'll like this. I don't know if I ever told you this. Like, who would have thought we're going down the Dawson's Creek path here? But
yeah.
I helped my friend Tiff move out of her apartment many years ago, and for some reason she had an autographed Dawson's Creek or James Vanderbeek picture. I was like, what is this? And she was like, oh, you can have that. I was like, I will definitely take this. And so that was like my payment for helping her move, right? I put it in my car and I forgot all about it. I let my buddy Derek get in the passenger seat. He gets in and he goes to plug in his seatbelt. And as soon as he does that, he's like, what is this? And he pulls out this Dawson's Creek glossy autographed 8x11 or 8x12 picture, right? And he's like, yo, we're taking this to the gym and we're going to put this up on the wall. Long before you went to the jiu-jitsu gym that we were both at in Austin, there was a point where we had the lineage, which is pretty common for a gym. They'll post up pictures of like the lineage as to like how the school got to the black belt level.
Right.
And so it always goes back like all the way to like, Elio Gracie and stuff like that. But as a joke, they put the picture of James Vanderbeek on there. And so it went like Frangia to like James Vanderbeek on the wall. And the parents would come in and they would be like, does James Vanderbeek train here or something? And
like,
so,
yeah. That's why our dues are going up.
Yeah.
We got a celebrity here.
we renamed a move. If you ever, and Laura at the gym will remember this for sure. If you ever are standing in front of someone's guard and you jump past their legs straight to mount, we call that getting Vanderbeeked.
All right. Shout out to Laura. Let's talk to Laura about this, see if she remembers.
Yeah.
That's a good story.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think Robert or Laura has that autograph picture in Austin.
I'm sure they
somewhere.
still do.
They told me they do. I haven't seen it in a while, so it's out there.
It's out there. Well, I mean, Michelle Williams is not really she's not very good in this movie, but she's a good actress. She has 5 Academy Award nominations.
For what?
Yeah. I mean, this is kind of a throwaway role for her, really. It's just damsel in distress with chola eyebrows.
Let me see. She has been nominated for
Was it Brokeback Mountain?
I know she's nominated for Brokeback Mountain. I believe she's also nominated for Blue Valentine and Manchester by the Sea.
Manchester was a big one.
Manchester is like the saddest movie ever. I think
I hated her so much in Blue Valentine.
Not there.
Yeah, she. I mean, Blue Valentine is also like a pretty. She's great.
Yeah.
Let's see. You know what? We're gonna spend some time on a second to find this because we're trying to fill air because this movie wasn't the best.
I'm looking at other movies for 1998, Joe.
Yeah.
Obviously, number 1 was Titanic. That was unescapable. Joe still hasn't seen it, y'all.
Haven't seen it.
Number 2,
heard of it though. Heard of it. I've heard
it. It's predictable.
Yeah.
You'll never guess what happens.
You guys have got to see this. Number 2, which is one of my favorites, Armageddon, or as many people call it, Armageddon. Number 3, Saving Private Ryan. 4, There's Something About Mary. 5, The Water Boy. We go down. I'm trying to find where this movie even lands. Number 32 was U.S. Marshals.
It's 38.
38.
Yeah, that's top 50. That's top 50.
It made top 50,
and I'm sure that's because of the Jamie Lee Curtis draw. Like she's back, right?
Yeah.
I remember when this came out, and that was like a thing where it was like Laurie's back.
Yeah, that was like the whole push of it was like because what were they up to, like 5 or 6 in the series at this point?
Yeah, and we're going to talk about the franchise soon.
And they were like, so this was like the promise. No, we're going back to the main storyline. Jamie Lee's coming back, and we're doing a contemporized thing similar to Scream. Like those were kind of the promises on the table when everybody was getting excited for this film. And not all of that delivered.
No, it didn't.
Were people excited for this like little rapper? He was probably like well known back then. His name was LL Cool J.
No, Mark. You're showing your age here. AJ knows.
Sorry.
AJ knows his real name.
What's his real name?
Ladies
love Cool James.
Yeah.
James? His name's James?
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh,
come on now.
Brother. Jesus.
Dude, I got to say, a young LL has some bars. He gets a little corny, but early, like Rock the Bells, great.
Dude, I mean, that first album was tight.
Yeah.
He was like one of the staples on Def Jam when Def Jam was like,
I think he's their first artist, actually. He and Run DMC are the first 2 artists they signed, I believe.
Yes. So he had some
bangers. He's got some bangers.
Well,
okay, real quick, let's close the loop on this, Mark. Sorry. Michelle Williams, 2006, nominated for Best Supporting Actress, Brokeback Mountain. Best Actress in 2011, Blue Valentine. Best Actress again in 2012, My Week with Marilyn. Haven't seen that one.
Yeah, I haven't seen that
2017, Best Supporting, Manchester by the Sea, nominated. 2023, Best Actress, The Fabelmans, nominated. She has 5 nominations, 0 wins. Of the 4 that I've seen, she's great in all of them. I would say she's not that good in this one.
No. Her character in this seems unnecessary. Like there's no like worthy build up. They're in the movie for sure, but I'm still asking why.
I think because you know why? I'll tell you why, Greg. Because Dawson's Creek was a really popular movie, and they probably were like, Katie Holmes is booked. Can we get the other girl?
Yeah,
Can we get the other girl?
Yeah, Katie Holmes was hot back then too.
Still is. She looks great.
Okay, here's my question to y'all. This movie, obviously, we talked about the title being very confusing. Halloween H2O, but it's actually Halloween H20. If you had to rename this movie, Joe, what would you rename this movie as?
Man, I don't know. I knew you were going to ask me that, and I just don't. I don't know.
Mark, you got anything for this?
I'm gonna go with Halloween Creed.
That's pretty good.
Dude, can you imagine if Scott Stapp was actually in this movie? People would have lost their
Double
mind.
whammy.
Yeah.
With
AJ,
my
any
mouth
thoughts
wide
on
open.
this?
Yeah, I mean, it's like a middle-aged reunion, right? So
Halloween middle-aged
middle-aged
reunion.
Pretty good.
All right, I got a
They
couple
still
lined
got
up
it.
here. I got a couple lined up here. You tell me which one y'all like the most. Let's see. It could have been called. First off, this is one of 2 Halloween movies that doesn't take place in Haddonfield.
Yeah.
It takes place in California. The other one that doesn't take place in California is Season of the Witch, which has nothing. No. Yeah, is it Season of the Witch that doesn't take place in California? Yeah,
That's correct.
Okay,
But,
so
but hold on, Greg. Season of the Witch kicks fucking ass.
Calmate.
It's the second best in the series.
Calmate, Joe. How about this one? We can call it Mike Myers Road Trip, Holiday Road.
That's
you
pretty
go.
good.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
if you listed a movie as that over H2O and I didn't know anything about them, you put them both in front of me, I go, I want to know about Holiday Road.
I like the road trip aspect.
And they made up a Northern California city for this, right? Summer Glen.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
that they just like.
Okay, how about this one? I got 2 more for you. We got Halloween: Return of Uncle Mike.
I hate that so much.
He's Josh Hartnett's uncle in
I mean,
this
he
one.
is technically.
He delivers,
Yes.
man.
He
He
is
delivers on that promise.
Yeah, it's all Uncle Mike's coming home. I mean, that could have been the movie title.
Okay. What's your third?
The other one is Michael Myers visits Dawson's Creek.
Damn, that's pretty good. I don't know
Like-
if the publishing rights, like they may not let you do that, but pretty good.
Like if you saw all 3 of those, and you saw H2O and you'd never seen any of them, which one would you go see?
I wouldn't go see H2O, I'll tell you that.
I would not go see that.
I
watched
noticed
the
that Greg.
Dawson's Creek crossover. That's what
Yeah, I
I
like that crossover.
watched.
It's like
It's
a Scooby Doo.
Yeah. I noticed you call him Mike Myers.
Oh yes, yeah.
Why not? I mean, his name's Michael.
Why
Hey,
not his
you know-
Christian name?
It's like you get to know someone, you shorten the name. You don't call me Gregory, you call me Greg, right?
That's true. Good point.
Okay, but this brings up another issue I've got here with this movie before. So Halloween movies, they always take place around Halloween, obviously, right?
Yeah.
And this one takes place. Well, first off, let me get you to clear the air on this. Where does this movie fall in the time scheme of all the other movies, Joe?
What do you mean?
How many other ones were there? So there's 1, 2,
Hold
Season
on,
of the Witch.
I got him right in front of me.
Okay.
I'm gonna run through them right now.
Okay.
Halloween's 1978. Halloween 2, 81. Halloween 3, Season of Witch, the second best one, 1982. Halloween 4, Return of Michael Myers, 88. Halloween 5, Revenge of Michael Myers, 89. Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers, 95. Then we have 98, H2O, 20 years later. Halloween Resurrection, 2002. And then now we're into the Rob Zombie double. Halloween,
The reboot,
2000, yeah, the reboot, 2007. Halloween 2, 2009. Now we're into the David Gordon Green trilogy. Halloween again, 2018. Halloween Kills, 2021. Halloween Ends, 2022.
Okay, so the trilogy, the one that just recently came out, that one's supposed to take place immediately after the first one, right? They pretend like the second one doesn't exist. Am I correct on that?
I think that's right.
Okay, and then the Rob Zombie ones, those were just like a remake of 1 and 2. And
Yeah.
those
They're not contained in this universe.
correct. Different universe. Season of Witch could have been a standalone, completely different movie. The
Yeah.
ones between the second one and this is basically where this one takes place. It's supposed to go like 1, 2, and then Halloween H2O, from what I understand.
Yes.
Okay, so it's been 20 years. Where's Mike been? What's he been doing?
Yeah, and that's the thing that this movie does a lot, where they're just like, we're not going to explain anything, but we're also not going to make it good enough that the explanation doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay, I'll accept that. But then,
I mean, I'm not defending it. It's a major gap.
okay, so
Huge
then
gap.
let's just talk about the that year specifically. What does Mike do the other 364 days of the year? Does Homeboy have a job?
Well, I always think that he's locked up and he manages to escape around Halloween. That's my thought.
He's like the ultimate prison escaper.
Well, yeah. And then, but he escapes and then he goes on his rampages and he's still out. They don't recapture him and he goes, you know what I'm saying? We're not in this vicious cycle of like escaping every Halloween, killing and being recaptured.
You think that they would like bump up security for this man around Halloween in prison?
Well, I mean, if you remember the first movie, Dr. Loomis, Donald Pleasance, great performance. He's telling everybody like, this guy's terrible. We can't capture him. We've got to kill him. He's evil. I've seen him. I looked into his eyes. There's nothing there.
To do his eyes.
And they're all like, it's no big deal. We'll get him. And this continues to happen. So I think you're right though. It's I mean, again, they just kind of like hope that you are. I think part of this was like people are going to be so jazzed that Jamie Lee Curtis is back. Yeah, that we're just going to do whatever and people will buy it.
Because the rationalization is that he breaks into the nurse's, I mean, we're going to cover it, breaks into the nurse's house, and there's a file folder that unearths where Jamie Lee Curtis has been this whole time after she faked a death.
Right.
Like, none of that makes any sense.
No. And how about this, AJ? How about this? A bunch of the stuff that is read to us in a voiceover are lines from the other Halloween movies spoken by Dr. Loomis.
Right.
Wouldn't it be great if we just took those lines with his voice? He's a very like distinct, noticeable voice. Let's just use his voice saying the same things from those lines. Nah, let's get another guy to do it. It won't sound like Donald Pleasance, but we're going to do it anyway. You won't notice. Who cares?
Oh, there's a story behind that.
Tell me.
They couldn't get the original audio files for it, so they had to get a voice actor for it.
How? How's that
That's
possible? They use the Halloween sound. They use the score.
Me. These are the people that named it H2O. I can't make sense of it.
Fair. That's very fair. Very fair.
H2O, but spelled H20.
I'd like to think that he was collecting
maybe
cars.
It makes me thirsty.
Say that again, Mark.
I'd like to think that he was collecting cars in the
okay,
20 years that he was off.
I'm really glad you brought that up. Homeboy is into classic cars.
Damn right. He's got good taste. Uncle Mike, he knows what whips to
Uncle Mikey.
To bring.
So what was it?
I think he steals a Caprice in one of them. And then do you have a list there at all, Mark?
Dude, I tried looking for the vehicle. I'm pretty sure it's like the same vehicle that they use in Jeepers Creepers.
It's like the truck from Jeepers Creepers.
It's the same
that's
truck.
hilarious.
But like, okay, so we know that Mike knows how to drive and he steals cars in these movies. Like, this movie was made in 1998. He could have stolen a number of vehicles. He could have stolen. Imagine, I just want you to think about this. 1998.
I don't.
1998. The biggest music at that time was, I think, Master P. Right? Everyone was like getting into like the whole Third Coast thing in Houston was starting to pop off. People
New
were
Orleans,
starting to.
I thought. Isn't it New Orleans?
No, that's Houston. They were riding on slabs. And,
No Limit Records is New Orleans, bro.
No. But I'm talking about Third Coast.
Oh, okay. Third Coast. All right.
Yeah. There's some cool cars that were around there. Like, how awesome would it be to see Mike steal a slab, or maybe not even that. Maybe he steals a Lexus, and we get like a whole scene of him trying to work all the navigation stuff in it.
This movie sucks, guys.
I think this would tie somehow. It would
should've-
tie into the Fast and Furious franchise.
That's true.
He should have stolen Michelle Williams' lowrider. That's what he should have done.
Like anything. Instead, he only steals classic cars.
Well, maybe it's because he's old and he doesn't know how to work, the new shifter knob or something. I don't know.
He's like, I only do 3 on the tree, homie.
That's right. He's been locked
Again,
up.
just some of the most noticeable vehicles that you could buy. None of them were undercover. You knew, like, oh, he's parked outside. Like, what do you?
Are you talking about the bathroom scene, the rest stop scene?
Dude, I'm talking about any time.
Any of them.
Like, he's outside of the street. Those
Just
cars
chilling.
are noticeable. It's the fucking Jeepers Creepers truck. You don't.
These are like the worst aware
Yeah.
characters in a movie I've ever seen.
So here's the thing about horror movies for me. I love horror because you can do so many things, right? You can have a really awesome like conceit for a film, a very experimental approach to filmmaking. They're cheap, so you can make a lot of them. And a lot of times you get either a good performance or a cool effect or a great storyline. And so it makes it so that you can kind of overlook some things.
Right.
This movie doesn't have any of those winning formulas that make it, you know what, it wasn't great, but there was like a great kill or good kills or I was scared. Like I was never scared. Even the jump scares were so predictable that I was like, all right, I know what we're doing here. The guy, and I gotta talk, I don't know if we want to do this now, Greg, but we've got to talk about the Myers actor.
Go for it.
Okay. He sucks. I'm sorry. He's bad. He's not, first of all, he's not big enough. I'm sorry. Get a huge guy. Well, I need a huge guy. Needs to be huge. Number 2, the mask. I don't want to see his eyes.
Okay.
I don't want to see this. He's like this.
I got notes about that. So this movie specifically, they used 4 different masks, and one of them was CGI. Sorry.
Okay.
I don't know why they were like, we need to do a CGI mask, but they used 3 different masks, and the mask that you're complaining about, Joe, was the one that a lot of people had issues with, where the eye holes were way too big. And so you could see too much of his his skin around his eyes.
Yeah.
The whole point of the Myers mask, first of all, the original mask, this is an incredible piece of Hollywood history. It was like a very cheap William Shatner Star Trek Captain Kirk mask that they used in the original, and they lost it after the film was made, and they could never find it. They couldn't replicate it. So it's the mask has definitely changed from film to film. But the thing that has always remained is that his eyes are black holes. You cannot see his eyes, especially from like far away. Maybe I think a couple of these movies kind of play with like when you're up close with him, but this movie is like literally, it's like he's wearing like the entire eyebrow under eye is exposed, and it's just like, what the fuck?
You can see his crow's feet, man.
Yeah, you can't even get that right, guys. Like, if you're not, look, this script is bad. There's some really bad CGI at the end of this movie that I can't wait to talk about. But so like knowing all those things, you would think that they'd be like, look, here's the thing. This is probably going to make good money because Jamie Lee Curtis is back. We got Michelle Williams. She's hot. Dawson's Creek. She's like big time with the kids. Get these kids in here to watch this movie. Okay. Let's at least get the Myers ethos and the look correct. And they don't.
Yeah.
He's
the way he carries himself is like
AJ.
Is like a sleepy toddler. Like
he's
like there's no like intimidating.
He's not really scary.
No, not at all.
He's herky jerky. He doesn't move slow. He's not like this. The thing about Myers, for me at least, is that he is like almost like the Terminator, right? He's like this unkillable force. He never speaks. You can't reason with him. He's always coming. He moves slow. And this guy was like kind of twitchy, and I don't know, man. He does the head tilt one time, which I was like, all right, they're trying for nostalgia here. When he first sees Laurie in the window, they lock eyes in that when she slams the door, and he does the head
his eyes out.
Yeah, he does the head tilt. But it's just like, I don't know. That was like a big time swing and a miss for stuff that I felt like you could control, and they didn't get it right.
So the director, he did some shots. This is how crazy it was. He did some shots with the mask, and then he didn't like them. And for the same scene, they swapped the mask for the same scenes that they were shooting. Greg Nicotero, he's famous for being one of the special effects artists on the Walking Dead TV show. He's the one that actually redid the mask because they asked him to. And then they had to redo it again a third time. And then, like I said, they did the CGI as well. It's like, what are we doing? What a mess.
Dude,
like, we not decide that?
one of those masks has cheek contour. Like
Yeah.
they put makeup.
Oh.
Y'all saw that, right? That looked
Yes.
insane.
When he kills that guy sticking his hand in the garbage disposal, that's where he pops up, and that's where he's wearing that mask with the
Dude,
highlights.
he looked like handsome Squidward. I shit
Yeah.
you not. I'll put
It
it in the
looked weird.
video. It's
Awful.
so weird.
It's
As soon
stupid.
as I see that scene, I'm like, what is up with the mask? Like,
Yeah, and like
Ah.
so when you think about the other Halloween, even the other iterations, like the Rob's excuse me, the Rob Zombie iteration and the David Gordon Green iteration, there's people have problems with both of those franchises, I myself included. But I do think they kind of get the Myers side of it right.
the
He's
performance.
huge. Yeah, he's like lumbering. He's very intimidating. He's very slow moving, methodical. He doesn't run. He's not twitchy. And I feel like this movie didn't, and it had an opportunity to really do.
The only thing they really got right with Michael Myers was simply that there's logistics to his mobility. Like, he catches up because people fuck up. He's not like Jason, who's teleporting magically. Like, he's still rooted in reality. He has to actually get to where he's going to do something, and then people clumsily screw up along the way or get stabbed, and it makes his job easier. They did that well enough, because I like the director coming from Friday the 13th. I was like, maybe he's going to screw that up and make him too supernatural.
Right. All right. So the other thing I was going to say about this is there was some before I forget, there were some other working titles that they almost named this movie, because this was almost a made-for-TV movie before they turned it into Halloween H20. By the way, H20 sounds like it could have been a Hummer. Anyways, they almost made it the son of Michael Myers. Like, this was going to be Michael Myers had like
What the
impregnated
fuck?
a nurse at the psych ward, and then the son got loose and decided to finish the work.
Jeez.
You got to
Yeah.
be kidding me.
Honestly, that one doesn't sound that bad. The fact that Mike's out here, laying some. That's not the worst plot line. I'll be real.
I mean,
with
it
you.
probably is better than this one. This one sucked.
Top of mind.
All right. The other thing I was going to mention, and this is just like a fun bit of trivia, is Mike Myers, the actor, the Austin Powers actor. They had actually approached him. I can't believe that I found this. I
Stop
was
it.
like,
You're
I was like,
lying.
no, I couldn't believe that this was real. I was like,
It's
and
made
I
up.
found it from multiple sources, and Jamie Lee Curtis confirmed it in an interview I saw. They wanted Mike Myers to be walking down the street when she's on the street there, grabbing lunch or whatever. Through this movie, she constantly has these visions of Michael Myers. Like, she'll see his like reflection in the window. She'll see like she has nightmares of him, and it's never him. It's always like her imagination. And they wanted a scene where she sees Michael Myers, her brother, walking down the street, and she turns around and it's the actor Mike Myers. I was like, what? The only reason they didn't do it is because Mike Myers, the actor, declined. He was like, I don't want any part in this movie you're doing.
There's a lot of weird references they throw out that just don't connect to.
Oh, how about all the references to Psycho?
Yeah.
There's a lot of that, and it seems unnecessary. Like, yo, we're paying homage to the wrong movie.
Janet Leigh's
Yeah.
in the movie.
Yeah, there's so much about this that is like, wait, why is there so much Psycho connection here? This is like, what?
The other thing is, Michael. Okay, Lori is not his sister.
Okay, now that's a common misconception. Now, if you watch the first movie, Lori is not his sister.
Right.
But in the second movie, they say that's like
Right.
a plot line they
They
introduce.
retcon it. Yeah.
Yeah. So are we assuming that, because I knew that I'm aware of that. Are we
Yeah.
assuming that this movie follows that plot, I guess?
Correct.
Yes.
So it's supposed to go 1, 2, and then Halloween H20. They forget the other
Okay.
ones. But even though they do that, they reference things from Halloween, I think the fourth one.
Yes.
because they in the fourth one they talk about Jamie Lee Curtis dying in a car accident, right?
Right.
And that's
right.
why she's not in it.
Right.
In this one, they double back to it and they basically say, yeah, that happened, but I faked my own death. So it's like, wait, so we are counting 4?
Yeah, it's just a convoluted mess of like
different script ideas. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's obvious that there's so much going on with this entire franchise, and it's been touched by so many different people and different versions of it. I totally get that, but this one is trying to bridge a lot of things that it's really, I think, not doing very well. And I guess we can talk about the plot, although the plot is like, there's not a lot of plot really. You know what I mean? Like, Michael's back. Lori, played by Jamie Lee Curtis, is, I don't know. She has assumed an identity, had a different name, had a child who is 17 years old in high school. The father is a methadone addict. They make sure to put that in there. She is in California, is a teacher at a private prestigious boarding school, and somehow Michael finds her. He drives from, well, he kills the nurse.
Let's talk about this.
Scene,
yeah, let's talk about these scenes, Joe.
All right.
Joe's upset.
God.
Joe wants to go like this. So, anyways, Mike Myers shows up. He kills some people. Roll credits.
That's right.
Sucks.
I mean, as soon as it starts and it's Donald Pleasance's words, iconic dialogue that he's not saying, I'm like, this movie blows already.
Well, it opens with Mr. Sandman by the Chordettes, which is a nod back.
Yep.
And then it's going through the whole Halloween thing, and then we get to the little short piece with Gordon Levitt, right? And I don't know, I thought this piece was cute. It would work in a kids movie, I think.
What do you mean? It would work in a kids movie.
Like, I'll go check the scary house for you. So first, the nurse from the first movie, she's back, right? She goes to her house. The front light's broken. Somebody's broken in. She's scared. So now she goes to the neighbors, the kids, the stony little apathetic, shitty kids next door, and they call the police. Police are going to take 10 minutes, and the kids are like, "Well, we'll go in and check." Well,
who are the kids,
Levitt,
AJ?
Were they Gordon Levitt and the weird kid with the spiky hair from the other movie? Who's that other guy?
That's right. That's right. No, that's it.
He looks like the Slim Jim character. And then Gordon Levitt does this whole routine bit where he's like trying to get brave to get inside the house, and he just starts wrecking shit with his what do you call it? The hockey club.
The hockey stick.
Yeah, the hockey stick. I don't know. I thought that was well done. It was hammy. It was cornbally. But
okay, I got to say this: when he's like searching the house trying to figure out if there's an intruder there, we see that the nurse walks up and the light to her front door is broken. Like, was Mike just breaking lights as he goes in the house? Like, what was the deal? Why did he break the front light?
Like a poor man's alarm, like where you put glass down and you can hear the glass breaking, so you know when someone's coming in.
Oh, okay.
That's what I was thinking, because
you're smarter than I am.
Yeah.
AJ. So
I assume he saw Mission Impossible too, or whatever.
So we could assume Michael Myers is into movies. All right. The other thing about this is that Joseph Gordon-Levitt goes in the house and he's like, all right, well, no one's here. I'm gonna go see what's up in the kitchen. He starts like opening the fridge. He steals a couple beers. And then he comes back outside and he tells the nurse, like, all clear. She goes in and it's not all clear. But he says he let her know, like, hey, whoever was there, like, messed up your office and messed up your kitchen. And I think they stole some beers.
Yeah. And just blames it on the invader. Yeah.
Yeah, so inadvertently, we could say Joseph Gordon-Levitt blamed Mike Myers for the stolen beers, and Mike Myers exacts his revenge for that. You don't tell lies about Mike Myers.
So, and then we get this cute little opening scene. It's nice and tight, makes sense. And then we get our first kill, which is Gordon-Levitt with his own hockey skate.
His ice skate.
His ice skate through his damn face. And that's like a Friday the 13th kill. That's not a Myers kill. With like, I mean, that thing is like 6 inches into his skull. Like, it makes no rational sense that you could stab a skate through someone's face like that.
And you bring up an interesting point. I'm thinking back on this. Does Michael Myers ever kill anyone with anything other than the knife?
Oh yeah, he blows people up and stuff.
They got a
blows
little more
people up?
creative.
Yeah,
like
he
in
does
the,
in
in
4.
the like in the
Oh.
weird numbers. They get creative, but
Yeah.
generally he's just a shanker. Like that's his thing. He just
And
likes
it's
to
the-
make
it's-
people.
all the time in prison.
Yeah, he just
Yeah,
likes
he
to make
didn't have
people
his
leak.
blade yet, maybe.
Yeah.
It's probably the best kill in the movie, even though it doesn't really fit with the Myers kills. You're right,
Right.
AJ.
We don't even see the kill. We just see the
The
after
on
body,
screen,
yeah. Yeah.
And how was his other buddy got killed too? That's like kill number 2.
Yeah, I got a kitchen knife in the back. He does the corpse fall forward, and you barely
Oh,
see the
right.
knife in his back.
Right. So then the nurse is like sees all the dead bodies, and right then the cops show up to her house,
Right.
and obviously she's in the house next door.
Right.
She starts running and screaming, but they can't hear because the window. She breaks the window, and
Which they would have heard, but whatever.
Yeah, she's yelling, "He's in here!" And at that point, we get a kill number 3 where he grabs the back of her head and just like slices her throat open.
She's
Right.
doing pretty well, though.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
what?
She's kind of knocking him around with the fire poker, man. She does.
Yeah.
I felt like they were trying to give her an arc to finish
Yeah.
off the character. Like this is her last. This is her fucking last
Yeah.
stand.
And the other thing, this is another one thing that I nitpicked with the Myers piece of this movie. They land gloves on him. Hartnett like lands a couple of shots.
Yeah, he clocks him.
Yeah, it's like that's not right. Myers is this. He's a giant. It's just I don't know.
He's like, get your
I did
hands off
some-
her, Unk.
Yeah. Right.
I did a little research on how tall this Michael Myers is. Guess. Just guess.
Joe?
5'11".
Jesus, Joe.
5'9.5".
Damn.
I was gonna say like 6'3".
He's 6'2".
All right.
Yeah.
He needs to be like 6'6".
I mean,
Jeez.
it's still kinda
I think a
tall.
lot of that is due to the camera angling. Like, so usually in like horror movies, there's a power dynamic of up tilt and down tilt based on who's dominating the scene. And in chase sequences where someone's crawling on the ground, they do that. But generally, when Michael comes into a space, they're still shooting him at shoulder level with the other characters for a lot of the scenes, and it just kills it. It's just not the way you cover it for a horror movie like that.
The part that really killed it for me, and Joe's going to get heated again here. The first movie, the thing that I love the most about all of it is the music and the score.
Yeah,
Fuck
like
yeah.
the
score
score,
is so
really.
good.
John Carpenter's
Fucking
music.
right, Greg.
It
Dude,
nails it. Like
I got
it's-
notes on this score because it's a mess.
Well, it's creepy. This one, like, what? Like,
Yeah, they
I'm
do-
sorry.
So the composer is John Ottman, and he is Bryan Singer's composer. He did X-Men movies, Usual Suspect. Like he did all of Bryan Singer's movies. So he's orchestral. He's he's from the Hans Zimmerman school of soundtracks. So it's basically an orchestral guy trying to redo a minimalist synth score, and it just doesn't work. It doesn't carry.
Yeah.
Even Bob Weinstein hated it. He hated it so much that they bought musical rights for some of the score from Mimic and I think some from Scream 2 that they then worked back in because they hated his score so much.
Wow.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, along with the scores, the stuff that some of the best parts of the original Carpenters specifically, and some of the newer ones have done this too, is you get the score and then you get like Myers stalking,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
you know, like walking or looking.
The breathing in the mask.
Yes, this movie does none of that.
None of that. Yeah.
They don't do
No
it
way-
at
no
not
way
one
ASMR.
time.
No
Nope.
way ASMR Michael.
Nothing.
Anyways,
I mean, now we're
score
at the
sucks.
school. We're at the school.
Yeah, we basically Mike takes his car, drives it out, and he takes a little road trip. I love the idea of Mike having to stop and get gas.
Yeah, how's he do it?
Does he have a credit card?
No.
Does he have cash?
Yeah, I don't think he has anything.
He's
Like,
got
do you
cash.
think?
That man's
Do you think?
got cash?
Do you think like he goes into like these random gas stations on the highway and he's like, let me get 20.
Does he have the mask
Dude.
on all the time?
Like maybe he takes the mask off. He's like, let me get 20 on pump 2.
But how would he even know that? Because if you're going based on the lore, he's locked up as a child. I mean, it's already a problem that he can drive in the first
Yeah.
movie.
Well, he does drive badly. He drives in the middle of the road on one of the scenes.
That's true. And he
How does
wrecks
not
that
get
car.
pulled over?
Yeah, he wrecks the car.
The other thing, well, when we get to, because they're kind of cutting back and forth between him making the trip from Illinois to California, because the whole point was the nurse that he kills was Dr. Loomis's caretaker, and somehow Myers knows that Loomis lives there and has files, and he's like, I gotta find out where my sister Lori is, and that's why he finds the file, and that's how he goes to California.
I was going to say, it doesn't make any sense that the file would say what her new secret
No,
identity is.
There's no logic.
She
to it.
faked her death. It's a bunch of shit. But so we're in California, right? And now we're not yet.
No,
Can
Michael
we be?
Myers. Michael Myers
Has to drop a deuce.
Yeah, he's got to drop a deuce.
Oh, this is bad.
And he's got a blowout. Again, I just love the idea of Michael Myers doing like mundane day-to-day things, paying rent, going to the gas station.
I actually like the bathroom scene because, like,
pretty good.
As a parent, there are times where you would like parent your kid at arm's length blindly when they're going in a restroom or doing stuff like that, and it is scary. Like okay, you go in because there's only a men's room. You can't go in the women's room. You have a daughter, so you go in the men's room, make sure there's nobody in there, no perverts. Then you're like, okay, go to the stall at the end. I'll watch, and then some dude rushes in, just starts busting ass and blowing it up while your kid's trying to pee, and it's just like the horrors of masculinity all on display for your like 5-year-old daughter. It's horrifying. So
hold on, I need to clarify for the listeners. In this movie, Michael Myers does not storm into the bathroom and blow ass.
Well, he's never in this. The one thing this movie does well is it sets this scene up. Basically, we see the car that Michael Myers has stolen kind of wrecked. He's like gotten a flat tire.
He's got a blowout.
Yeah, it's by a rest stop, and then we get the perspective of a younger mother and her small daughter, who need to use the restroom.
And so they're driving the Jeepers Creepers truck.
Yeah, which is insane. Like, why would they be driving the Jeepers Creepers truck? It doesn't, give me a break. They wouldn't have like a Wagoneer, Grand Cherokee. Like, come on. But the whole conceit of this scene is, oh, we think that something terrible is going to happen to them. And we're going to see a kill. And they do a good job, I think, of withholding that from you.
Yeah.
And they do ratchet the tension, because you're like, oh, is he going to kill this child? What's going to happen to the mother? And it turns out that he is just stealing their car while they're using the restroom.
Yeah. He yoinks the purse from like right under the stall, and
pretty good scene.
The mom doesn't like make any noise. She doesn't say anything.
Honestly, I think the two of the better scenes in the movie are the opening that AJ talked about with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, which doesn't really involve Michael Myers.
No.
And this scene, which doesn't really involve Michael Myers.
Yeah.
You need the audience to know that Michael Myers is in this movie and could be available, but he ends up not being available, and it's pretty good.
And they're like, hey, are you available? Can't shoot today. All right, we'll make do.
And it's like, oh, that was actually better.
So now we get brought up to California, and the opening scene here is Ladies Love Cool James, and he's I guess an aspiring erotic fiction author, and he's reading some of that to his girlfriend over the phone.
He's also the security guard at the prestigious boarding school that Jamie Lee Curtis, Laurie Strode teaches at, and her son attends. This is her
she's got a
alias.
different name here, but because she's hidden her identity, but I don't remember it. I call her Laurie through the whole movie.
It's
That's what
Carrie
she is.
something.
I got a weird tidbit here. Do you guys know who LL Cool J was talking to on the phone?
Oh, tell me.
No.
So the actress is Lisa Gay Hamilton. She played Aisha in Crush Groove, which he starred in as well. Yeah, they were co-stars in Crush Groove.
Yeah, Crush Groove. He's in that movie. Holy shit.
So she
That's
just lends her
incredible.
voice.
Right. I'm wondering
to
if
the
he
movie.
pulled her on, like, oh, I know somebody who could do this, and then called her up or something. But yeah, I looked that up. I was like, oh, that's so crazy. They were in the same movie together twice.
That is
now.
crazy.
The next scene we get here is we get introduced to Molly Cartwell, and she's basically in the kitchen, and there's a service elevator in the kitchen. It's like real old school. It's kind of like the one that I guess if you have multiple floors in a building, you would send the dishes down it or send food up it, whatever.
Yeah, dumb
the
waiter.
kitchen. Dumbwaiter. Yeah, that's what it's called.
Yeah, like Webster used to use.
Yeah. We we get this scene where she's like doing dishes, and then it's got like ominous music as if she's waiting for it to come down after she's supposed to be done. And you just get the feeling like Mike Myers like put a dead body in there unnecessarily or something, but it's just more it's basically just leading to the fact that they're going to reuse this elevator for something later in the movie.
And I hate scares like that. Not scares, but tension building like that, where it's us experiencing it, listening to music out of context with what the actor's doing, but the character has no stress. They don't have those undertones. They're not scared at all. They're just doing their day to day. There is no real tension in the scene, and it's just us reacting to the music and an expectation of something. I always hate that because it's like they're just messing with us, and it has nothing to do with the character of the story. But
Absolutely. Yeah, that's cheap in my opinion.
There's a lot of bullshit in this movie, guys.
So so then we get to Laurie Strode's character, and she's, I guess, also not only is she like the principal of the school, but she's also an English teacher, and she's assigned the students to read Frankenstein, and they're basically talking about it, and they're in the story they're talking about how Frankenstein needs to confront the monster, and it's like, good God, it's got like message. This is just like nothing but foreshadowing.
But it's so not applicable to her though. She
Right.
didn't
Not at
make
all.
Frankenstein.
She didn't create him.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Was she supposed to kill him when she was 16? Like that, none of that makes any like the compare.
Very
It's
true.
such a stretch to draw a comparison to Frankenstein, and it's
And
just
she
not fitting
says
at all.
she pronounces it Frankenstein.
Frankenstein, yeah.
I was like, all right,
She's
moving on.
pretentious too.
Moving on.
She's drunk. She's drunk.
But it does get weird
Um,
where it's like the Michelle Williams character is like literally telling her like you're gonna have to step up, bitch. Like it's the weirdest like scene.
It doesn't make any sense.
No.
We get a shot of the Jeepers Creepers truck basically driving into the school. We get
Just
another
chilling.
shot of LL Cool J reading more erotic fiction, and he's basically the worst security guard of all time.
So
Yeah,
what do you
he's
guys think
terrible.
is up with the erotic fiction thing? Because I feel like there's a lot of weird thematic elements that were like remnants from shitty scripts that were torn apart. Because
Yeah.
the one character makes reference to writing where she's trying to find adverbs. She's like, oh, you would describe it like this or that. So like, oh, she's a writing character. And then LL's writing. And they're like, okay, what's this writing? We're going to tie it together. Then there's the literature thing with Frankenstein. Nope, there's
It's
no
terrible.
there's no element at all with storytelling and I feel like there was probably used to in a previous draft the way Scream is self-reflective on the genre. I wonder if they were trying to make stabs at being self-reflective of the horror, just writing in the genre in general, not just film. And those
That's
elements
interesting.
just fell apart, got thrown to the wayside as they kind of streamlined it out.
Yeah, like the whole script is a little bit of a mess in regards to that. The Jamie Lee Curtis's son and the girlfriend their storyline is it's flat. There's no
Yeah.
need for them
No,
in this movie
no
at all.
consequence whatsoever.
No. But
Yeah,
because
and-
basically we get this whole thing where it's like the school, everybody's going on a school trip to Yosemite National Park, and he wants to go, but he doesn't want to go, and they end up not going. He and his girlfriend's best friend, and his best friend. So we've basically gone through this whole thing so that we can seclude these four kids in the coolest part of this movie is like that layer underneath, Greg, that you're talking about. That little like downstairs where the dumbwaiter is.
Yeah.
Like, that's cool. That was a cool set. Other than that, we didn't need any of the story of why they are. There's a lot of there. I feel like there was a lot of gymnastics to get to the point where, there's nobody else around but the four
Yeah.
of the kids. Okay.
So we get
that premise
Go ahead,
pissed me
AJ.
off because it was like the biggest bait and switch. Because I'm like, yes, we're gonna have a sleepover in Yosemite and everybody's gonna get slaughtered. This is gonna be awesome. What? No, you're not going.
We're not doing
like,
that.
what the fuck?
Right.
Why are we staying here at a
Right.
school with
I would
six
have watched
people?
that movie. I would have watched that one. That
Totally.
would have, but that probably would have been too much like a Jason like camp killer movie.
To a degree, yeah. I mean, it definitely would have fed into that lane. But I mean, there's just a different way you execute with Myers versus Jason. You know, the rules behind it and all that. But
So
Well, and that's go on.
the kids that stay behind. There's a cool little nod here that's like a little Inception-esque. The kids stay behind, and one of the teachers goes to their rooms. I guess they have dorm rooms there. He goes
Yeah.
to the room to check on them, and when he walks into the room, they're watching Scream. Then you can see Scream on the TV. But if you remember back to Scream, in Scream, they're watching Halloween.
Right.
So you kind of get like a little nod back and forth, and it's the writer just stroking his own ego that he's doing that. I think.
For sure.
The Scream on the fact that it's Scream on there, it actually wasn't the first movie. They edited that back in. Originally, they were watching So I Married an Axe Murderer.
Oh, because they were going to try to do a Mike Myers time.
Great.
Because
Yeah,
Mike
God.
Myers, yeah.
So
Oh
horrible.
my God. And they're like, he turned us down on the cameo walking down the street, so cut that part out.
So we're
Change
changing
the
out
movie.
So I Married an Axe Murderer.
Yeah, that's right.
This is like that bad non-cocaine era of Hollywood. That's what this is. That's what I
Man.
blame.
We need more cocaine in this movie. I want to see Mike Myers doing a fat line of
take
blow.
a bump. Yeah.
Well, the thing so one of the things I found interesting is that Lori and her son are very open about the fact that she is has a fake identity, and that Michael Myers was, his uncle, her brother, is a psychopathic slaughtering spree killer. They are like, yeah, we all get it, but she is managing to keep this secret, and then she finally does reveal it to her boyfriend, who's also a member of the faculty, and which hilarious line. They're like making out, and I don't even remember the lead up, but she's like, I had this crazy brother. He killed a bunch of people. Did you ever hear of the name Michael Myers? She's like, yeah. No, take off all your clothes.
Yeah.
It's like, Jesus Christ, come on. But this is where we start to ramp up, because it turns out that they're kind of putting the pieces together. He's learning, oh, she's Laurie Strode, this famous girl, in Haddonfield, Illinois. And the phones are down in the school, and she finds out Josh Hartnett, her son, did not go on the trip. So she's like, uh-oh. I'm in alert mode here.
He's like,
This was a big moment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
What's the does anyone know the runtime of this movie?
Yes, 95 minutes.
tight, crisp 95.
Very
Actually,
tight.
Yeah, 95.
Okay, so up to this point, like everything.
Oh
we've
no,
talked
I'm sorry.
about-
Oh, Greg, pardon me.
Is it
86 minutes, which is
86
even
minutes.
better.
Okay, so up to this point, everything we've talked about leaves us 20 minutes left in the movie.
Yes.
Everything that's happened that we've talked about is the majority of the movie, and nothing has happened.
That's right. The best part of this movie is that it's 86 minutes long.
The last 20 minutes are probably the best, in
Yes.
my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah.
The fourth act? Yeah.
Yeah, like the very end. Okay, so we get this leads us up to our next kill here.
Yeah.
We've got one of the friends of her son. He's roaming around the kitchen, and he's looking for a corkscrew, and he drops it in the garbage disposal.
The tension in this scene is well done. It's like Final Destination stuff.
It is good. I thought he was going to chop his hand off.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to grind his hand up. Yeah, I did.
They somehow get a camera angle inside the garbage disposal.
It's cool.
And they show him putting his hand in there, and he's just like, all right, so I got to point this out. Garbage disposal is only like, how big a garbage disposal is. But this one, he's like, bunk, 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 bunk. Where's the corkscrew? He just can't find it in there. He takes his hand out and he tests the garbage disposal. And it's all just basically like lead up, like, oh my God, Mike Myers is going to blow up his hand in the garbage disposal. And then he gets the corkscrew and he pulls it out. And Mike Myers comes around the corner, and he doesn't actually, the whole corkscrew and the garbage disposal was just like a misdirection.
Red herring. You know who that kid is? Deep
Tell
cut.
me.
I didn't even have to look this up, boys.
Who was
I
it?
knew. He plays the young Robin Williams character in the original Jumanji.
Oh, wow.
Jesus.
That was a.
How do you recognize that?
Yeah.
That's why I'm a podcaster, baby, for free. That's why I do this and get no money for it, Greg.
So Mike Myers, this is the next kill. We don't see this kill. Again, we don't see the kill. We've got multiple kills that we don't see happen.
Yeah.
In fact, up to this point, I think we've only seen one kill from
The nurse.
Yeah, the nurse.
Yeah, the nurse.
Everyone
In the
else
beginning.
has been killed off camera.
Pre-killed.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So his girlfriend, the guy that just gets killed, is waiting for him, and the elevator gets called, the little dumbwaiter. And we already know what's going to happen. They gave us the premonition that this is where this was going to go. It opens up, and lo and behold, he's in there. Now, I got a question for y'all. When you watch this, because I know that you probably didn't remember this kill, tell me the truth. Did you think that the corkscrew was going to be stabbed in his head somehow?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Thought we were going up the chin. You know what I mean?
On his jaw. I thought it would have been in his eye. Nope. No corkscrew.
I
Again.
didn't even mentioned.
I thought he was going to turn around with the corkscrew, get it taken from his hand, stabbed in the face somehow, and then his hand reshoved back in the disposal to grind it up after he's dead.
That would have been a scene.
That would have been some rage. Yeah.
Anyway, so the girl's like freaking out, and then Michael Myers shows up on her level now because she was screaming. And so, he's slow. She runs and jumps in the elevator and closes the door and like tries to get the elevator sent the other direction. He gets like a stab at her leg.
Yeah.
Cuts her up pretty good. She
Gets
rides
a
the
little
elevator up. And basically Mike's waiting for her at the other end as she's crawling out. And we get an actual kill scene here where he stabs her in the back. Next kill.
Well,
Wait,
before
you
that,
forgot the really dumb
yeah,
part.
Go
the
on.
coolest part.
Go
I
ahead,
thought it was the
Marcus.
greatest. I thought it was maybe the best
Oh,
kill of
where
the,
she gets her-
of
yeah, the elevator.
the movie.
Where she gets her foot
Yeah.
stuck in the thing?
He cuts the weight on the dumbwaiter.
Yeah, and it slams on her foot, and you like see the meat come off the bone and everything. And
Yeah.
that's why she's crawling on the floor.
Yeah.
This is this the coolest kill? I think this might be the coolest
It's,
kill.
Pretty cool.
it's easily the
Yeah,
coolest.
it's the best one.
So
This is
not
the one
only
where
that,
they put the most work into making it good, I would say.
yeah, because not only does he like stab her in the back when she's like crawling on the ground, he decides to hang up her body with like a light bulb.
Yeah.
I didn't get this at all.
Makes
You
a
kinda
little
have to
mobile out of
pause
her
it.
corpse. Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't give you enough time to even see what it is. I didn't understand it.
It was too fast.
And like, when did Michael Myers become like an installation artist all of a sudden?
Right.
He's like, this cord will definitely hold him. But
What did she do? What did that girl do specifically?
Right. Yeah, Mark. Great
Usually
call.
there's a point like they had
Mhm.
sex. Oh, like she's gotta die. She was
was just
smoking
there.
weed. She's gotta die. No, she was just like that actress is like pretty. She was pretty hot back then. She was in like She's All That, and
was she?
yeah, man.
yeah.
She had like after this movie, she was in She's All That and another one. Like she went on like a 4-run spree there where she was like the main girl. She was like,
Who
the
is
hot-
this? Is this
Jody?
Sarah? Jody Lynn O'Keefe?
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
She went on a little run there. After
Okay, yeah, She's All That. Vampire Diaries. Yeah.
Vampire Diaries was also another one that was written by the same writer.
Oh, she
Damn
was in
it.
The Crow's Salvation.
Oh, that's a
Ooh,
keeper.
I bet you that one's better.
Moving on.
All right, so moving on. Josh Hartnett and his girlfriend, they basically find the body. They realize that shit is happening. They take off and they basically run into Mike, who stabs Hartnett in the leg.
Right in the
But this
thigh.
is where Hartnett gets a couple of good left hooks,
Mm-hmm.
and Michelle Williams brains him with a rock. Which
Yeah.
again, like this doesn't in other Myers movies, that doesn't work.
Yeah, he gets like
He-
a cartoon wobble here.
Yeah, he's like a normal guy basically,
like, oh.
and that he's not in the other movies. It's bad.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
then
so we
Hartnett
get
is sprinting with one leg. That was like
Yeah.
a little,
yeah.
little
Yeah,
much.
I
yeah,
got a
yeah.
quick question. I got a quick question for y'all, real quick.
Okay.
I've never been stabbed in the leg or the thigh, but it is a trope for most horror movies, and I'm glad that we're doing this because I'm curious. How well can you run when you're stabbed in the leg like that? Like, are you able? I feel personally, if I was stabbed in the thigh, I'd be good.
So
I feel like I'd be booking it.
So Greg, AJ, have either of you been stabbed?
Only in a medical
Think about
scenario.
I think you'd know the answer if you had been stabbed.
Well,
No, I
mean,
don't think-
Yes, I have been stabbed. The
Well,
surgery I just had.
outside of surgery, because I haven't either, Mark. So I think we're all coming from a place of guessing here. Look, to me, if it's like the meat of the quad, you're fine. Probably
I'm fine.
hurts, but like, all right.
I'm Usain Bolt.
Yeah.
I would say if the knife is vertical in the pattern of the muscle, then it's probably less damage. Where if it's perpendicular, it's ripping sinews. Because that's the issue, is that it cuts through sinews and then you lose functionality. Like the muscle literally can't pull the limb. That's where otherwise, if it's injured or damaged, yeah, it's going to hurt. But I mean, you have so much adrenaline in the moment, it's probably not going to hurt for 30 minutes or something like that.
Adrenaline plays a big factor. I've been very hurt with adrenaline, and I know in that moment that when the adrenaline wears off, that I'm going to be very unhappy.
Broken
Okay,
baby toe. That's the worst I've done on adrenaline.
Hold on, we get a really cool scene here. This is probably one of the ones that I know they used this for the previews when this movie came out. I remember this one specifically because Josh Hartnett and his girlfriend run from Michael. They slam a gate, like a barred door closed.
It's like a gated
and they
entrance
lock
in
it.
front of a doorway.
Yeah, and Michael's walking up, and the girl drops the keys, and they fall under the fence. And so she's
and then we do
reaching
the
for
whole
him.
T-Rex trying to bite you in the cave scene.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going on. We know that like she's about to get shanked. He's walking up. Josh Hartnett pulls her away from the fence, and then Mike gets there and he starts swinging through the grate in the fence.
Joe
See,
probably
he's
made that
basically-
movement.
I thought this sucked. Yeah, he was way too like I keep
like
saying
eager.
twitchy, but yeah, that's
So eager
not the
for it.
Myers style.
Yeah.
He's like
So-
a battering ram.
So I think if this was the Myers that you're talking about, Joe, he would walk up to the fence, look at them, look down at the keys, and pick them up
Yes.
And then try
instead
each
of reaching
one,
through trying to
one
stab
at a
them.
time.
Right. And like frantically like waving at them with the butcher knife. It's just bad.
You know, in that moment, I just knowing who I am as a person, if Mike Myers if I was in that scenario and he was picking up the keys, I'd be talking shit to him.
Of course.
I'd be like, I bet you can't do that. That's the wrong key. Why don't you try the next one?
I don't want a jiu-jitsu corner too early, but when he has his arm through those bars, are you arm barring that or no?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god!
You're just running the opposite direction of the elbow.
I'm grabbing that arm and just dropping all my weight on it and just snapping it clean down. That knife's gonna fall right out of his hand, and I'm
Yeah.
not letting go after I break it either.
No. And
I'm
they've
hanging
already
on to
shown both of them have already shown the capability of like they're willing to defend themselves. They just did.
Yeah.
They basically gave him
They're
like
fighters.
a 3-piece and knocked
Yeah.
him down.
So the fact that they're like terrified here when they have this barrier between them, to me is like, you guys kind of already overcame this fear. I don't know why you're regressing, but
Because he's a masked killer with a knife, Joe.
And
I don't
I'll
know,
tell
man.
you, like
it's bad.
all of those scenes, though some of them have good tension points, like really missed opportunities. Because again, the promise was the Scream promise, right? Which is that now that we're aware of the genre, we can be self-reflective and be smarter than the genre to kind of advance it. And when we get to the fourth act, that does happen. But like you mentioned it with Jamie Lee, where she's like Jamie Lee Curtis, where she's like, I'm not going to hide in the closet now because I did that before. That's
Right.
where we have these little moments of self-awareness. There should have been way more of that through these slasher scenes to kind of deliver on that genre promise, that Scream reference. So yeah, I mean, these are just tropey. Some of them are well done, but they're just all normal stuff you'd see in a horror movie.
This scene culminates to basically they're banging on the door, they're hitting all the buttons, calling the intercom, and Mike's going through the keys trying to open the door. The door opens at the last second. Mike opens his door at the same time. They slam the door shut because Jamie Lee Curtis came to save the day, and we get a face-to-face face-off through the window of the door right there. And that's the one that they used for all the previews. That was like basically saying Mike Myers versus Jamie Lee Curtis.
Right.
She's back.
And
And
it's bad because the mask is terrible. His eyes are, you can see it's shit.
You get a close up of it.
Yeah,
He's surprised. He looks surprised.
Yeah. And he's been looking for her. Like, why is he surprised? It's
Oh
terrible.
my God, she's here.
Right. I drove from Illinois to halfway across the continental United States for this. Why am I shocked that I find her?
Well, it's you haven't seen each other in 20 years.
Where do we miss the part where they accidentally shoot LL Cool J?
That's next.
Oh, fucking terrible. God.
So they run into the school. They're all running, and basically, Jamie Lee Curtis opens a closet door, jams Josh Hartnett and his girlfriend in there, and basically says, "Don't come out." It's basically a callback to the first movie when she puts the kids in the closet. She's doing it again, and we see Jamie Lee Curtis. She's got like a little snub-nosed revolver,
And then Adam Arkin becomes the man of the moment.
Yep.
Adam Arkin, yes. They see a shadow coming up the stairs and they figure it's Mike. And so Adam Arkin yanks the gun from her and just unloads. He's such a horrible shot. He hits the wall, but he's got to go through every bullet. He's got to waste everything. And basically hits LL.
Yep. Kills him.
It wasn't the first time they pulled a gun on him either. Lori pulled a gun on him
and she leaves it up on him too. She just flags him the whole conversation. And even LL's like looking at it like, okay, are you gonna fucking put it down?
I got to point this out. I don't know if you know this, Joe. LL Cool J is the first black actor in any of the Halloween movies up to this point.
I didn't know that, but it makes a lot of sense.
It gets darker in California, if you know what I mean.
AJ's who's the next movie? It's Halloween Resurrection. Isn't there another rapper in it?
Busta Rhymes in one of these.
Busta.
It's Busta Rhymes. They basically laid the blueprint out for Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, for some reason I thought Busta Rhymes was in this one.
Busta Rhymes has got a lot of dialogue in Halloween Resurrection. I remember that. Because I think he dresses up as Michael Myers in that one, and then he comes face to face with Michael Myers, but he doesn't realize it's him.
Isn't it obvious with the color of his hands?
Dude, they really wanted to kill LL. Like, I think in the script, we need to kill him multiple times.
Very stupid.
He needs to die multiple times.
And what purpose why did LL even take this job? Like, what purpose does this character serve at all?
I think you want to be an actor.
Yeah, he was in Deep Blue Sea, and he drops that famous line. In that one, it's
my hat's like
you
a
ate
shark's
my
fin?
bird.
Oh
no, he's talking about the thing that ate his bird in that movie. He's got a parrot. It's like his pet, and like the shark eats it, so he gets revenge on it at the end of the movie.
I did a little research on James, and this actually skyrocketed. Like, this started his movie career. Like, he did.
He was trying to transition to acting, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, he always was. I mean, Crush Groove. He had bit parts. He did Wildcats before this. Toys.
I think those were the first two, right? And then he's in like.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
He starts rolling.
And then I mean, any given Sunday's like peak LL, right? I think at this point, that's his best. That was '99.
Joe, what's your take on Toys? Robin Williams.
Don't care about it.
Oh, interesting.
Rollerball. Everyone remember that one, huh?
Horrible. Yeah, I remember Rollerball. I like the first version.
One of the worst movies ever. It's the remake. The original's kind of cool. James Conlon.
Original's weird.
All right,
it's very weird.
So this leads us to our next Mikey kill. Basically, they go check on LL and they realize that he's bleeding, and then Mike opens the door and stabs Jamie Lee's boyfriend.
Oh yeah, there's a big old squiggle,
and it's like he's getting electrocuted. It's a terrible death scene. It's bad.
Like he picks him up in the air with the knife, and basically, Jamie Lee runs and grabs the kids, and they get in the car as Mike's walking towards the car. We get the classic like fumbling for the keys to start the motor. They run down to the gate. They open it. Jamie gets out and says, "No, I need to confront him." And she tells the kids to go down the street. She tells them to go down to the house. I'm going to forget the name here. She says, "Go down to the house down the street and call the cops." the name of the
She
family
had a
that she
name for the
mentions-
family. I was like the Hodgsons or something ridiculous.
Oh, so that family was Drew Barrymore's house in the first Scream.
Oh,
It was the same last name.
That's so stupid.
Wow.
Yeah, like they really tried to tie these two.
See,
Yeah.
this is what's so frustrating is they spent so much time doing dumb bullshit like that instead of just like getting the good kills right and making sure the Myers actor was believable.
They had to have been like really high after a shoot and go, you know, it'd be really funny if we got Mike Myers, the actor,
God.
and we brought him in just for
So
a cameo. Mike Myers in a Michael Myers movie.
Just unfocused.
Okay, this is my favorite scene of the whole movie coming up here.
Okay.
Jamie Lee breaks the glass for a fire axe, and she starts walking back up to the school, and she's screaming for Michael.
This is hard.
I thought this was the hard scene.
This is the hard scene of the movie. Yeah.
And this is where we start breaking away from convention. This is what we were promised, right? You know, this is
This is like literally the last few minutes of the movie, and
Yeah.
this is why we watched this whole thing for this stuff right here.
Yeah.
But yeah, that scene was definitely hard. I love that, and we get her walking through the hallways, and we get back to more stupidness.
So stupid.
Are we going to talk about the tables?
She gets him down. She gets him down.
Hold on. Before she gets him down,
Are we going to talk about the table scene?
that's coming up too. But even before that, she's walking through the hallways looking for Mike, and we just see him come down from the ceiling behind her like he was 50 Cent.
He was just
at the
doing
Super Bowl. How long has he been hanging out up there, and why?
So bad.
Was it a
With one arm.
chandelier or?
Yeah,
what
with
was
one arm.
it?
He does like a
He's, like,
one arm
up there,
reverse pull up to like drop down.
Which means he had to
And-
be like a good 6 feet out of her field of vision to even pull that off. So he had to be like
And-
sideways against the ceiling.
I like to imagine him like with his hands pressed up against the wall.
Oh,
and
yeah,
his
doing
feet
that.
kicking the other side.
like
Just
like
waiting,
nin-
like I
Ninja
hope
Warrior
she comes
style,
back
yeah.
for me. If she comes back for me,
I'm imagining his feet just kind of like dangling above her, right?
That's what the scene is.
but he's still like that's what he was doing. He was just waiting for her, and he's like, I hope she comes back. She comes back, I'm gonna get her.
I'm gonna get her.
So she turns around and thwacks him with the axe. He stabs at her, and basically we get the little fight scene right here. She hits him over the head with is it a fire extinguisher? Yeah, that's what it is. All right, more jujitsu corner right here. You knock the dude down with a fire extinguisher. He obviously dropped his knife. Dude, just take his back. He's got a gi on. Done. Wait for the cops. I see it all the time on YouTube.
I mean, for sure. The problem is she gets to the point where she's incapacitated him. She retrieves his knife. She's going to deliver the coup de grace, the killing blow, Greg, and what happens?
No, but even before that, she gets some more action on him. She stakes him with the state of California.
That's true.
Just to let you know where they are.
The flag, yeah.
Little California shout out.
Now, did you have a problem with the table scene? With her hiding under the tables?
Yeah, so they're in like this
A mess hall.
I guess it's a mess hall with all these tables for the kids to eat at, and she like runs and hides under them, and she sees Mike's legs.
Now, these are collapsible tables, and if you've ever looked at a lunchroom, you can just see through them. Like, there's nothing hiding anybody underneath. And the tablecloth they had on these tables were like hilariously short. They're only like hanging down like a foot off the. So there's no way he didn't like she's hiding underneath, and it's like you could just see them from the entryway. Like you could just see her there. It's just so absurd that they couldn't get like serious tables, and I don't know. That whole scene is just weird.
Yeah, and basically she goes running upstairs, and then she runs into the kitchen, and she's looking for a weapon. She dumps all these knives out.
Yeah, she knives up.
And Mike Myers is coming into the room, and it's basically she's throwing these knives horribly. She's basically saying like, "Hey, you like knives? Here's your favorite weapon. Here's a bunch of them." She doesn't hit him with any of them. Instead, we get like a slapstick like knee to the groin.
Oh God! And he does the face. He does the eyeball face again.
We see the eyes. It's comical. Joe's so upset about this scene.
And the look that he gives
Sucks.
it's like half arousal and half confusion. It's not even a pain look that he gives. It's the weirdest reaction to a nut shot I've ever seen in a movie.
Yeah, and then basically she stabs him off of a balcony. He falls off. This feels very reminiscent to the first one.
Right.
And she learned nothing from the first encounter with him. She got this giant knife, and she goes, I'm gonna drop my knife and go check on him now. Like, what even is this? So she goes downstairs, and lo and behold, ladies love Cool James ain't dead. Can't kill him.
There
Can't
was
be
a
got.
large pool of blood next to his head.
Yeah, he shows up. Joe, the movie's over, right?
Of course not.
What do you mean?
This movie is so bad. Well, at this point, he prevents Ronnie, LL Cool J's character, he's like, he's already dead. He's already dead. It's like, no, he's not. We've seen these movies. I don't know why they put this in here. I guess to maybe extend the suspense, I guess. I don't know. Because
I know exactly why.
Okay.
Because up until this point, the movie is only 76 minutes long.
Man, yeah, that's a good call. And we're going to end up talking longer about this movie than it actually
the movie,
ran
yeah.
for. Yeah.
I think we have passed that.
I think that's an indictment on us, guys. But that said, Lori decides, I'm not going to allow Michael to be carted away in the coroner's van. She grabs a policeman's service weapon. She tells him all to back off. She gets her axe, puts him, basically like hijacks the coroner van, and I don't know where she's going. I don't know. They don't.
Where was she going?
I don't know, because it's almost like she was hoping that he would reanimate, which he does, of course, in the back. He like kind of attacks her. She slams on the brakes. He goes over her shoulder through the windshield. She goes to stomp on the gas to run him over, which she does, except there's no backstop for her to crush him against. So she's just driving him off basically off a cliff. Basically,
yeah, they both get flung. Yeah,
yeah. She gets ejected from the car, and he tumbles down and basically smashes. He gets. I don't really remember this, but
it's like lined by a tree. Yeah,
yeah, and then the van smashes into him, and that was bad CGI there, where he's like, that was bad.
That was rough.
Real bad. And she goes down to him, and we get the like hands reaching out where she's like, Michael. Obviously, there's like some idea
that is so good after the retcon.
Yeah, that she's like, oh, we're siblings, and then she whacks his head off with the fire axe.
Now retell that from the EMT's perspective.
Wait, so you pronounced him dead, but he got his head cut off?
It's just really shitty.
So you guys know how they retcon this in the next movie, right? Like,
I don't
Resurrection.
My next question.
So this is how the scene plays out.
I do remember this. Yes.
So the EMT driver shows up on scene. Michael Myers is dying or dead. He's checking his vitals, does what he can. Michael Myers chokes him to death, breaks his trachea, and then swaps clothes with him and throws him in with the mask into the back. So that guy wakes up in a mask, in a bag, in a body bag, claws his way out, freaks out, tries to get the driver to stop. She hits the brakes and launches him off a cliff through the front of the bus. He gets knocked out again, wakes up. And this is the great part when you watch the scene again. When he wakes up, when he's pinned to the tree with the van on his back, he is going like, what is this mask? He's pulling at the mask. He's trying to get it off. He is losing it. Like, he's freaking out because it's the EMT driver in the mask.
It's
and then
not Mike Myers.
Right. She's there and he's reaching for help. Like, help me. And she's like, Mike, she's giving her speech. Michael, you said you just fucking lobster. Like, that is a horrible way to die. Just like, what a horrible way to go
Hold
out.
on, but that death is so much better than any of the other deaths in this
It's
entire movie.
so drawn out and specific, and like, oh man, that EMT driver was tough as shit. Like,
He got
I'm
thrown
so
through the
upset.
ringer.
I'm so mad.
Yeah, but you wouldn't know that until you saw Halloween Resurrection.
right.
Get
And
it?
then
He's
you go back-
resurrected because he's not dead. Get
He
it?
was never dead. Yeah.
That was never him in the back of the
was
van.
never him.
It's just
Watch
very disappointing that this is such a great, the bones, the foundation of Halloween as a franchise, as an American contribution to art is just
Staple.
It's a staple, Mark, and it is just desecrated here, denigrated. It is dragged through the mud.
They shit all over it.
They did. This movie sucks, folks.
Yeah.
Hey Joe, what would you rate it? How many stars? 1 through 5.
3. I think there's some value in the through line with Strode and Michaels. I mean, obviously, it's like the Titanic, right? Fate or whatever. They're destined to fight each other. We get that. I think for a lot of people watching the film, that was enough for them. They really didn't care about the other stuff.
Hey Jay, did you just give this a 3 out of 5?
Yeah.
Joe is like speechless right now.
I think it holds up for what people paid for in terms of what they expected from the movie and what they got. I think it fell drastically short with how great Scream was for the genre. I don't even think most people realize how good Scream is for the genre.
Scream's good. Scream is good.
Yeah. Like it reinvigorated a dead genre is basically
yeah.
what Scream did. And people were
The
hoping
first
that this
Scream
is
is
going to do
really
that
good.
for, yeah.
I like
Yeah.
the second one too.
Scream 2 is good too. What's your ranking, Greg? 1 to 5.
I think everyone should see this. You need to see it. You don't need to see 4, 5, 6. This is 7. Is that right? Or is this 8? Hold on.
6.
Let me. Is this 6? Hold
Technically 3, but 6. Yeah.
on. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is the 7th
this
in
is
the, in the
7th?
franchise, and that includes Season of the Witch. You need to see it at least once. I mean, just for the couple cool scenes where
Well,
she's
I mean, it is canon, right? It wraps up the storyline theoretically.
yeah.
Yeah.
So if you
What's
care about
your-
those first two,
What's your stars, Greg?
1.5.
I give it a star. And then,
One.
yeah. And I was bordering on half star, but I'm giving it a 1. There's 2 scenes that are pretty good. We talked about them. Neither of them contain Myers. But to AJ's point, it does tie, it is a through line to some of the original work, which is so good. Just watch Halloween 1, Halloween 2, and then take a little time off and then watch Season of the Witch. It's
There you
not
go.
Michael Myers, but it's so awesome.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Mark, what do you rate this one?
I mean, I think y'all definitely enjoyed it less. I think so. When I try to watch a Halloween movie during Halloween, this one lacked a lot of the Halloween aspects, like of the holiday or like the Halloween costume bullshit. I feel like it lacked that. And I try to think of movies that I want to watch during Halloween, and I don't know if this will ever be one. It had me thinking I would rather watch Hubie Halloween with Adam Sandler than this one during Halloween. So I would say it's probably going to get like a 1.5. I think it does. I think what hurts it is what helped it back then. It's a time capsule of itself, from the outfits, the cars, the dialogue, whatever it might have been.
Creed.
You know,
Creed.
yeah,
Bob
Creed.
Weinstein bought that song.
Dude, I think it encapsulates everything that 1998 was, but it's just one of those movies that doesn't age well at all. You know?
Yeah, you mentioned one thing that I think is good, Mark, is that, well, several things that are good, but one thing that when you said it, I was like, oh, that's a great point. It doesn't have a fall or a Halloween feel to it at all. There's no autumn. There's no weird spookiness. There's no.
We barely get any costumes, right?
Yeah, it's just not. It doesn't. It blows, man. This movie sucks.
Hubie Halloween, though. That's
well.
a good movie. I don't know if y'all have seen that one, but Halloween is, it is here. I'm not,
Halloween is here. That's.
I am an Adam Sandler supporter.
Oh, we should talk about the weird cameo from Jamie Lee Curtis's mom.
Yeah, Yeah.
Like,
What do you got, AJ?
so she shows up, right? And then she's like trying to give advice, but it's weird because it's like, I'm Janet Leigh giving you horror movie advice. Like, it's weird. They're like fourth wall breaking almost, the way they're talking
Yeah.
about dealing with problems and stuff.
Yeah.
And again, it's just so not applicable. And then as she walks back to her car, you hear the Psycho theme play.
It's really, really bad.
It's just not tastefully done at all. It's just like just throwing shit at the wall. Like
Yeah,
those
it's bad, and it's all like, yeah, it's just they're trying to do everything they can to make this appeal to as many people who know horror as they possibly can, I think, and that ends up being just a mashup of a bunch of subpar parts.
I have a little question for you boys. If you were to recommend a Halloween movie, it doesn't have to be Halloween. It can be like a movie around Halloween. What movie would you recommend?
Ernest Saves Halloween.
Terrible call.
Probably Reanimator, just because when I try to show it to my kids when they were 10, they made me turn it off halfway through.
What?
That's hard. That's hard.
That's hard.
That's a good one.
Honestly, I would go with the original Halloween.
Yeah.
I think it has everything that it's not as scary anymore compared to what every other horror movie is, but it really set the benchmark. The score is incredible. It's very creepy. You get even though it was filmed in California, they made a very strong attempt at they brought in leaves and recycled these leaves and used them. Like they're trying for this Halloween feel. It's kind of this nostalgia thing. I think Halloween, the original, is incredible. Unbelievable movie.
If we're looking for some Halloween recommendations, I like Insidious, The Conjuring, and there's another one that came out around the same time as Insidious with the sleep paralysis.
Paranormal Activity?
No, not that one.
I mean, fucking Blair Witch Project still kicks ass.
Yeah.
That movie is
a fun one.
Wild.
Yeah, I like makes you kind of motion sick.
I like it just escaped me. I like, what was I going to say, Greg? Damn it. I don't know. I had one in my head that I was going to tell you.
Dead Zone. Dead Zone's awesome.
Yeah.
I was probably going to watch Serpent in the Rainbow because that movie freaked me out as a kid.
Scary. Yeah. I mean,
which one is the Carpenter one where it's all the homeless people with bugs in their skin and they take over Prince of Darkness? Oh, it's so
great
good.
One.
It Follows.
Follows is great. Good fall vibes, and
safe sex, kids. Safe sex.
That whole movie is basically just a PSA. Public service announcement.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you can go wrong with any of the kind of the staples, really.
Yeah. No.
I really want a spinoff, and it's never going to happen, but I want a spinoff of Michael Myers doing everyday chores and activities and killing people on the side.
We could do that, Greg.
No. I want it as a series, like a limited series. And he's like, gotta go to work. My boss is such a jerk. I'm going to kill him today.
How tall's Joe?
6 feet. Not big enough.
Almost.
Well, if we learn anything from AJ, we'll just shoot the angle. We'll shoot it lower.
Put you on some creepers.
They make Tom Cruise look 6 foot. He's like 5'6".
True. He also wears lifts.
6'6". Oh.
I mean, Hollywood.
He wears lifts for sure.
Prime Cut podcast movie.
Who's funding us?
We'll crowdsource it.
Let's get some ads.
I'll do it.
I think we hit this pretty hard. We talked about this too much. Let's be honest.
That's all I got. We got a couple things left in the pipe. I'm not sure what's coming out next. The order's a little bit jumbled, but
the thing is next.
The thing is next.
We're doing that with a.
That's our collab.
We're cross collabing with another podcast team.
Cool. Check that out, y'all.
Yeah, check us out.
Thanks, AJ, for joining us. Always a pleasure.
The Prime Cut Podcast at gmail.com, prime_cut_podcast on Instagram. I don't know what TikTok is. Just search Prime Cut.
We out.